Good morning, Amreen. Good morning, Kishan. Good morning, Pavan. Good morning, Vicky. Good morning, Shirisha. Good morning, Mohan. Good morning, Lily. Good morning, Merit. Good morning, Nagma. Good morning, Ravi. Hope you enjoyed your birthday. Zulfati, good morning. Hi, Nina. Good morning. Ashu, good morning. Good morning, Lakshmi. Happiest morning to you too, Prashant. Good morning, Shilpi. Yeah, sorry guys, I had some phone calls in the morning. Uh, Rajesh, good morning. See, before good morning, everyone, let's start a nice Monday morning with a very big smile. Okay? All of you, smile. If you remove the S, there's a mile in smile. So you can go miles when you smile, it seems. Okay? And as you keep on smiling, your smile gets better and better. Yashaswini, good morning. Deepika, good morning. Rajesh, good morning. Anjali, good morning. Anjali, hope you're doing better now. Soumya, good morning. Great, I'm happy to hear that, Ravi. Shashikant, good morning. Santosh, good morning. Abesh, how is you? Good morning. Shekhar, good morning. Shruti, good morning. All of you, good morning. Now, guys, I want you to do one small exercise. It is important, okay? See, for all over the university, the regulations in the dissertation say that they have to submit a synopsis to the university department. I have given the last date for a synopsis submission for all the MBA students of the university as July 15th. Now, what I want you to do is consult your guides and write one page synopsis. All right? This one page synopsis will help you to understand what you're going to do in the project. First, you write your title. All right? Then, you write how you're going to do the project. When you decide, I will show you on Wednesday a small research tree. Okay? I will take two or three examples on Wednesday and I will show you a small research tree, how it goes, how it proceeds. Okay, so be ready to copy and then you have to write your objectives. I'll take some 2 3 projects and I'll explain to you how to do it. So you see that and then consult your guides also and do the synopsis. You may say what ma'am is giving us extra work, but you will realize that this synopsis will give you valuable lessons in life. Like whenever you plan, now when you do a project, it is necessary to plan. When you plan well, half the work is done. You know exactly what you want to do. Bharati, good morning. Shruti, good morning. So you know exactly what you wait. Once again, I'll say good morning to everybody. Manjunath, good morning. Great to hear that, Anjali. Abhishek, good morning. Dev, I saw you on Facebook. Next time, bring me some sugarcane juice. Teja, good morning. Sachin, good morning. Devika, good morning. Amrita, good morning. Sandeep, good morning. Larma, good morning. Anshu Singh, good morning. Abhash, good morning. Roshan, good morning. Lavanya, good morning. Nothing to beat Mandia's sugarcane juice, no man. Very delicious. Rima, good morning, sweetheart. How are you? Okay, all ready? Now, I was telling you about synopsis. I would like you all to do a synopsis. You are free to inbox me on my, not today, on after Wednesday. On Wednesday, I will do a class on how to write synopsis. I will take, if you want, you send me, Madevi, good morning. You send me your topics. Okay, Barsha, good morning. You send me your topics. I will take select some 5 6 topics and I'll tell you exactly how to do synopsis for those topics. I will select one finance topic, one marketing topic, one HR topic, like that different. Please send me your topics, okay? Or you give, what you could do is, Yashaswini and who else is there in finance? All class reps can send me 4 or 5 topics on finance. Tell Shweta is missing here. Tell Shweta and Rashid, whoever is taking attendance, no, those reps, you send it to them and they will send it to me. I will select some finance topics and some HR topics, some marketing topics, and I'll tell you exactly how to do a synopsis. If you do that synopsis, no, for you the project will be easy. You know what to do next. Look at my forehead, it stretches from here to here. So I start, this is my beginning, say this is my beginning, this is my end. So I know I have to go from here to here. As simple as that. So the synopsis is like my forehead. From where to where will you go? You go from here to here. So in a decision tree, you roll back. You do the whole thing and you roll back. So your payoff table becomes super simple, isn't it? So similarly, you will be writing a synopsis. Please don't say ma'am has come and now ma'am is giving us more work and all. See, please understand that even when you do a presentation in your, you'll be going to work. So when you're going to work now, they'll be asking you presentations. So when you give the presentations, you will have to, plan, and this will give you exactly what you want to do, right? And it will also, as I tell you, I'll also tell you how to present it for your Viva. Okay, so the slides and everything I will tell you. It will give you a clear picture. You won't be confused. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? Etc. You understand? So your guides will be given to you by the in this week. I will make the guides and give you, and by Wednesday or Thursday, possibly tomorrow, and then you can go ahead. Okay. Currently, since the guides are not given, I will change the guides. I don't want to. Mithun, good morning. Namaste. Namaskara. In Kannada, we say Namaskara. Yes. Tejas, good morning. Rakshita, good morning. Bharat, you're a paradox man. Okay, good morning. Naveen is a monarch. Wow. Good, good. Yeah, good morning. Okay. Now I'll go on to international business class. Please tell everybody, all the lazy ones who don't come to my class, that they better come, because when we talk about I know there are some of them have problem with the connections, etc., etc. See, last year Harish got the first rank. You know, Harish, he was in Davangere, where his phone could not access my classes during the day. So when his father came home from work at night, he used to see the class, but and still he got the first rank. So I'm not going to say do it, see the class now or anything. That's why I'm coming on Facebook, so that Facebook is great. It records my classes without any expense on my part or any effort on my part. So you can see my classes in the evening, but please see. And on Wednesday, I would like all of you to join, so that if you have a doubt, it will be an interactive class. You can ask me. All right. So now I will start my today's class. We are talking about international human resources management. Now, please remember this one thing. Uh, Human resources management is a set of activities. What are the activities? The activities are directed at attracting people. See, you always want to get the best people in your working for you, isn't it? So you have to attract the best people. How you attract, we will discuss in later on. Of course, you attract because of your company image. You are attracting, people are attracted for the salary you give. People are attracted by the fact that you are in a metropolitan city, and if they work for you, they get to live in a metropolitan city. Or it may be the opposite also. You may give opportunity to work from home, give them a good decent pay package, and say flexi time, you can come to office if you want or work from home. So they may prefer to stay. See, some people have senior parents or grandparents, or there may be some sick people in the house who require care. So working from home is a great opportunity for many people. So there we are. Human resources management is the set of activities directed at attracting, as I repeated, developing. So once they join you, see, whenever you join a company, that particular company trains you to work in their company according to how they want. So despite all your degrees, etc., you will get an induction, an orientation, and a training. Induction and orientation. See, induction is into the company. Orientation is for you to understand the corporate values, the corporate culture, how they work, how you are expected to work. There is one important thing in when you work. It is called a code of conduct and a code of ethics. See, whatever you do, you are not supposed to divulge outside. You can tell others general profile. Okay, I'm doing this. My general profile is business analyst. But which company's business are you analyzing? Suppose you're finding out the credit worthiness of a company. See, we had senior students from Afghanistan who left last year. Four of them were inspectors in one of the central bank or one of the banks of Afghanistan. So they used to tell me that they had to go and check the accounts of other banks, accounts and other books of the other banks. So whenever I ask them to do something, they are very thorough. They see word to word, number to number, and this is a fantastic thing. So they and how do you think they developed? They developed because the bank taught them what to do. Though they knew what to do, though they had degrees, the bank made sure that they were trained on how to do. See, when I was in Kuwait in years ago, I wanted to try and get into a business analyst job. So I was discussing with a cousin of mine that I have forgotten all the ratios, and I need a book whereby I can see. Internet was not strong that time. We didn't have internet, so I wanted a book where I could, find out the ratios and understand the ratios again, because I needed to be thorough before going and applying. So my cousin asked me, "Do you know the ratios and what they stand for?" Yes. Then, "Do you know the formulae?" I said, "No, I cannot remember all the formulae. According to the understanding, I can explain, but I may not be able to say all the sub things that go. For example, if I were to ask you, if you were to ask me, tell me all. Now that I'm a teacher, and I'm in academics, I can tell you, all the sub details that go into assets and liabilities, etc. But that time I could not. Excuse me, I could not tell all the sub details. So she said, "See, please don't worry, because in banks and all that, wherever you're going, the formulae are already there. The program will ask you, put in this, put in the current assets, put in this, put in that." Okay, so automatically you will you will be able to. You just have to take the figures. Say you're going to analyze a company's credit worthiness. They'll ask you, give the cash on hand, um, blank. So you type in, give the cash at bank. You type in. So when you do all this, automatically the ratios will come. And then the program itself will tell you if the ratio is greater than 3, credit worthiness is excellent. If there is, imagine, I'm just giving you a hypothetical imaginary figures. If the this thing if the ratio is equal to 2.5, you have to say good. Below 2.5, you have to say doubtful. Okay, below 2, no. So something like this, what I'm trying to tell you is, my cousin told me that the companies will have the ratios and the programs ready. All you have to do is feed in the numbers and give your suggestions. All right. So if imagine like this, I will have to give a presentation on maybe one company. Each one, say there are 5 of us, and 5 of us have to present the credit worthiness of 5 different companies. Even then, I will plan. What is my objective? My objective is to put forward. See, imagine now I have been selected, okay? So, my objective is to put forward the correct facts to the company. So, how am I going to do it? How am I going to make a report? Am I going to write it all in words? I can use synonyms and make the words colorful. But if I'm going to give diagrams, suppose I make a little, say bar chart. In the bar chart, I tell the current ratio for the past 3 years. And you can see, in the bar charts would say whether the current ratio has increased or decreased. Let us talk about the stock turnover ratio. See, generally when I teach, if I have to teach the stock turnover ratio, I will teach it like this. Suppose in the Viva, I'm going to ask you, there is a shop, vegetable shop, near your house, whose stock turnover ratio is 6 per day. And there is another shop whose stock turnover ratio is 4 per day. Which shop would you prefer to go to and why? Now you see this. What does stock turnover ratio mean? It means that the entire stock is turned over in 6 times. Meaning also entire stock. Rashid, good morning. Why you woke up just now? Uh, Maiwan Yunsi, wow, good morning, man. How is Kabul? Cold? Maiwan, good morning. Yamanna, good morning. Uh, Pavan, good morning. Rashid, good morning. Maiwan, is Kabul very cold now? How's the weather? I don't know how the weather will be. Hope you're enjoying going back to your country. Okay, now uh, I was talking to you about stock turnover ratio. There are two vegetable shops near your house. The first vegetable shop you have found out has a stock turnover of 6, and the other one has stock turnover ratio of 4. So which shop would you go to and why is what I'm asking. So what does stock turnover ratio mean? It means the entire stock has turned over, or the entire stock is finished and new stock is brought. So when you have a stock turnover of 6, it means they have brought new stock 6 times in the shop. So if you go, you will get fresh stock. Whereas 4 times means it is relatively lesser fresh than 6 times. Do you understand? So you have to understand what is the meaning. So I was telling you my example of trying for a business analyst job, and my friend told me you don't have to worry. You get a good idea, if you remember something like this, and they will give you the program. You just have to feed in the numbers, and the computer will throw up whether the numbers. So you have to understand how to decipher the numbers, and then you have to present it. So when you present it, how are you going to present it? I was telling you about presenting with bar graphs. Okay, if you yeah, Mahesh, good morning. If you give bar graphs of say one ratio, let us say the ratio is simple current assets, current ratio, okay? That is current assets by current liabilities. And then imagine you're giving the quick acid test ratio. What is the difference between current ratio and acid test ratio? Simple. From the current assets, you remove the stock. So the current assets minus stock divided by current liabilities is the acid test ratio. I'll repeat. Current ratio is current assets by current liabilities. Now you understand it like this. What is current ratio? See, for every current ratio means you have the money in your hand. Current liabilities means currently you have to keep on paying. So if current ratio is 1:1, it means for every liability, every 1 rupee liability that you have to pay, you have 1 rupee cash ready to pay. Now this is a sort of a moderate approach. You have to pay 1 rupee, 1 rupee you have to pay of liabilities, and 1 rupee. Yes, Tejas, good morning. 1 rupee liability, you have 1 rupee cash in assets. So the current ratio to current ratio, that is current assets to current liabilities, will be 1:1. This is a moderate approach. Now suppose you are afraid, my God, current assets means I have to receive money. Accounts receivable is part of current assets. So I have to receive money. So suppose this fellow in Majestic doesn't pay me, then I will not have 1 rupee to pay 1 rupee. Okay. So what I do is I increase my cash in hand so that current assets become 2:1. Now 2 is to 1 looks nice because 2 is to 1, 2 rupees for 1 rupee. Now you see this, that is one thing, okay? That is conservative approach. Now I'll talk to about it later. Now the risky approach is I give 0.8 is to 1. I'll say when I come to pay, I will get the money and I'll pay. Let me take that much risk. 0.8 is to 1. Now it looks very simple. 0.8 is to 1, small figures. We'll enhance these figures, okay? Current assets is 1 is to 1, okay? We'll go on into 1000 is to 1000, 10,000 is to 10,000, 1 lakh to 1 lakh, like that, okay? Okay, we have the moderate approach. To pay 1 lakh current liabilities, I'm keeping 1 lakh current assets, okay? Now, if you are doing 2 is to 1, how will it be? For 2 is to 1 means 2000 is to 1000. 20,000 you're keeping for paying 10,000. Why? It is even worse when you keep 2 lakhs to pay 1 lakh. So much of conservativeness. So 1 lakh is idle money. Okay? 2 lakhs you're keeping because you're afraid you won't be able to pay. So 2 lakh, what about the 1 lakh extra? It is idle money. Okay, 2 is to 1, that's why is a very heavy ratio. So suppose you say, I'm keeping the other one, the risky one, 0.8 is to 1. So you're keeping 80,000 to pay 1 lakh. So you have to manage 20,000 in case, just in case you don't get the money. See, current ratio means it doesn't mean that you're not getting and giving, etc. So on general, so you understand. So this is the thing. Understand what it is. I was trying to tell you about presentation and synopsis. So if you understand what it is, it's become very simple to go ahead. So that you have no doubts because you know what you are doing and for what you are doing. So HRM is a set of activities. It is directed at attracting people. As I told you, you must attract the right people. You must develop them. As I told you just now, you must develop them and maintain them. Why? You don't want them to go. You don't want that turnover ratio to become high. That is labor turnover ratio or the attrition. You don't want to have a high attrition rate. You take someone, you hire someone, you do induction training, orientation training, development training, and you put them on the job, and after 4 months they say, I need to go. So don't get into attrition. It's always better to retain the workforce that you have trained because you have spent money on them. So maintaining the effective workforce necessary to achieve a firm's objective. See, what is a firm's objective? Maybe selling, maybe marketing. So the marketing the goods. See that all the goods are sold. So you have to train them to be able to sell properly. Now HRM includes when you attract, includes recruiting and selecting, non-managers and managers, providing training and development, appraising their performance, telling them whether they are right. Performance appraisal you have done. The bars method is there, 360 degrees is there, already. And providing compensation and benefits. Okay. Now, what is the major differences? Why you may say, ma'am, we have done HRM. Why are you doing again? I'm doing again because there are major differences between domestic HRM and international HRM. Now, business activities like taxation, international relocation, expatriate remuneration. You go and work in Dubai, and when you come here, how are you going to bring the money here? So there is, and the company may be asking you, Indian company, I have a branch in Dubai. You go and pay there. You go and work there. So, do you get your Indian salary? Yes. Do you get your Dubai salary? Yes. How are you? How are you going to manage the extras in Dubai? Is the company extra expenses are there? Is the company going to give you? Yes. How is the company going to give you? For example, it will keep Indian salary in your bank account in India. There you will be given your foreign salary. So these things are there. Then performance appraisals are there. Then there is cross cultural training. See, you are used to, imagine a Bangalorean. Imagine I'm a Bangalorean and I go out and I buy my vegetables. I come, I do my sambar and I do my idlis and vadas, and I eat. Imagine. Now, if you're in Dubai, you don't get fresh vegetables. You get frozen vegetables. The fresh vegetables you do get, but they are very much more costlier than the frozen vegetables. So, if you are going to live in a Gulf country, your fresh vegetables are going to cost you much, much more than a non vegetarian's meat products. So, you will be in a shock. I said, oh my God, so much you have to spend. So this is one part of cross culture. Okay, and then repatriation. Repatriation means after you finish your assignment, you will come back. And again, when you come back here, you would imagine you are the manager. Now someone else is sitting in your place. So what position will you get? You may also be a manager, but people are listening to him because you don't have Indian experience. For the past 10 years, you have been in a Gulf country. So how you work there will not work here. So something like this. Then increased complexities like currency fluctuations, foreign HR policies and practices, different labor laws. You have to be careful because each country has different labor laws. Then increased involvement in employees' personal life. See, personal taxation also you have to take care. Voter registration has to take care. Your housing there, housing when you go from here, how are you going to stay there? Then your children's education will be different. In Bangalore, you may learn Kannada and Hindi as the languages. There, you may have to learn Arabic. So, how are your children going to cope like this? And then, not only children, yeah, then health, whether you need, abroad, doctors are more expensive than in India. Then, recreation also. You imagine you in Bangalore, you go about roaming in the malls and maybe MG Road and Brigade Road and all. There, can you roam about? The weather is harsh. So, can you roam about? Only when the weather is pleasant can you take a walk. So, because the summer heat can be nearly 50 degrees when 50, I remember when I was in Kuwait, when the weather, if the heat was more than 50 degrees, they declared a holiday. We had to stay home because it was dangerous to work in the heat. Not that we worked in the hot sun in the open. Of course, we all worked in buildings in with ACs. But then, when the temperature was more than 50, too much rain, you declare holidays, no, like that. Now, the next thing is about spouse employment. See, you have a man will have a wife, a lady will have a husband. So, when the imagine the man, we'll take the man's example. When he goes abroad and his wife has a career here, what is going to happen? Can the company, maybe because of the wife's career, a person will not agree. Zuhra, good morning. Yeah. A person may not agree to go abroad. He may not, he says, no, my wife's career will be harmed. I'm not going. She has a good job. Can your company offer her a similar or something good job there in Dubai? So these are also there. So the differences between domestic HRM and international HRM, when I'm telling you, these personal things are also involved. And then there is a complex employee mix. When you go to Dubai, you may be working with Egyptians, Syrians, Palestinians, the local people, and Pakistan people, Bangladesh people, Sri Lankan people, Filipino people, Philippine people, so many countries, Koreans, Americans, British, maybe Europeans. You may be working with so many different people. So each one's culture is different. You have cultural, political, religious. Now, see, Israel and Palestine had a strife recently. So if you are in the Gulf and you're working with the Israelite and a Palestinian in the office, how will the office atmosphere be? So something like this. Then educational and legal backgrounds also will be different. Increased risk, that is emergency exits. So suppose you have a serious illness. See, I remember my one of there was a ship. One of my cousins was working on a ship, and then what happened? His wife was with him. So when his wife became sick, off the coast of Florida. The ship was off the coast of Florida. The company arranged for a helicopter from Florida to come and pick her up and take her to a hospital in Florida. So, are you going to offer your employees such facilities? So, then personal security, kidnapping, and terrorism. See, some countries, when you work, see, the other day, the ship got caught in the Suez Canal. 140 Indians were there on the ship. There are also, see, there are around Libya and all, there is the problem of pirates. So these pirates had, there is one beautiful movie, man. This Tom Hanks. You see that movie? He's the captain. How he's captured by Libyan pirates, and this is a nice movie. You get an idea of what are the dangers you face when you work in international waters. So kidnapping, terrorism, all this can, how are you going to prefer? So when you hear all this, we may decide, I don't want to take an international assignment. So, or someone will say, hey, let me take it. I love adventure. It could be both. So you see here, this slide is not so very important. Uh, it is just scattering myths about globalization. Next, we'll go into strategies of international, multinational, global, and transnational organization. And international. So, not much. You may be a representative of the company staying in Dubai. So, the goods will come to you. You arrange to give the goods to these people. That's it. Okay. So, international company means you don't have a big branch there. You may be a single person working for the company in a foreign country. Okay. So, next is we evolve to multinational companies. So, what is the difference? See, multinational company means you will have in places, for example, you have, say, somewhere close to Dubai, say, okay, in Dubai, you may have a base where you manufacture and you sell, though you are an Indian company. This is a multinational company. Then global organization. It is a transnational organization. Oh, there is transnational after that. So global organization treats the entire world as though it is one large country. Entire company or one or more of its product lines may operate with a mixture of two